So the luxury home sales rise 41.5%.
Wow.
That's crazy to me. Just that it's up at all is crazy. But I mean, almost we're pushing towards 50% in luxury sales. Now, luxury sales across the country are different. In our markets, we call it 700-ish and up. What do you call luxury in yours, Ray? 500?
Yeah, I mean, if you buy over 500 in Central Arkansas, you're in the top 2.5% of the market. So I would say probably people that are in the top 2.5% are kind of luxury.
Yeah. And I do it kind of based on kind of where FHA stops and where, you have to have a different set of income, a bigger down payment to get into this stuff. So we call it luxury, but it's always been that. But there's some areas where, entry level is 900 grand. So specifically which I did run numbers on just Rancho Cucamonga, which is what I always do. I did 700 and up. So let me get through the story. And then if you guys can right now, whatever luxury is in your market, just do a year ago, January to October 14th, 2019, and then January 2020 to October 14th, 2020. And just compare the difference. Because for me, it was extremely interesting. And I think Ray as well.
So you're mainly looking at units sold, correct?
Yeah, I just closed sales.
Okay.
Yeah. Just closed sales. And I did, like I said, just Rancho standard sales. I didn't do any distress sales, and then 700 plus. That's it.
And if you're watching this on the replay or even on the chop, go ahead and post your numbers. How many units sold between now and October 14th, 2019 and 2020? Do the comparison for yourself. Just post it because we can kind of take a little worldwide survey. Now, I know they pulled data from our MLSs and from our stuff around the world, so supposedly they have better data, but it's just interesting to see what our viewers, who I think are some of the more informed in the audience, what's happening in their markets. And also give a shout out to your own market. That way, when someone's looking for a referral and they want someone who's actually well-informed, they can contact you.
Yeah, well, and specifically for just your market, it's a stat you can know. And I don't know how many times every week, 5 or 6 times a week, I'm just covering something that I looked up for the show, and it keeps me extremely current. So now I can go, you know what? National numbers are 41.5, but in Rancho there, I'm not going to tell you because I'm teasing. Yeah. In the largest increase since 2013. And that's kind of when, now for us, 2012 and 2013 here in Southern California, the market, quote unquote, figured itself out. It had no idea what it was. There was a lot of shadow inventory. There was a lot of distressed properties. And in 2012 and 13, it's kind of when it went boom. And here's the new foundation. Then we've built up since then. So in the largest increase since 2013, luxury home sales rose 41.5% in the third quarter, according to a new market report from Redfin. Is that how you say it? Redfin?
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of like one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, except it's Redfin. Yep.
There's a different kind of fish too. While sales in this segment of the housing market have skyrocketed, the sales of medium priced homes went up only 3%, and sales of affordable homes actually declined by 4.2%. This is a quote from Daryl Fairweather, lovely name. The luxury housing market normally takes a hit during the recessions as wealthy Americans tighten their purse strings. But this isn't a normal recession. And he is the Redfin chief economist. And he continues and goes on to say, remote work, record low mortgage rates, and strong stock prices during the Rona are allowing America's wealthy families to gobble up expensive houses with home offices and big backyards in the suburbs. He goes on, meanwhile, scores of lower and middle-class Americans have lost their jobs or are still renting in the city because they're essential workers and have to commute to work, so they're unable to reap the benefits of homeownership. So here's what I found interesting. So in Q3, the median sale price of luxury homes was $862,000. And notably, the only market with increased inventory was luxury. So increased inventory. So the number of new homes for sales in this segment of the market was up 8.4% of the year over year, Redfin said. So Ray, if already in a market that's not for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And inventory goes up, what do you think that would mean? That wouldn't mean more to me, that wouldn't mean more sales, and it wouldn't mean 41% more. That's such a big number. Like, if there's more inventory and more people can now afford it because they have more equity to leverage, and they've been saving since, everything crashed, and they've gotten their credit and all that stuff, and now they're ready to rock, and they bought in 2012 and 13, and now they're leveraging that equity. That's still such a big jump. So I immediately went and ran my numbers.
Well, I'm sure you found, like I have, that it's just been a runaway in 2020, and that luxury market has been totally through the roof. So here's a comparison.
I found exactly that, Ray.
Central Arkansas. We had 165 homes, and I went 700 and up in this because I found a little anomaly that I'll get there in a minute.
Okay. These are total sales.
700 and up. We had 165 units in all of Central Arkansas in 2019 from year to date, right?
Okay.
So January to October 14th.
Yeah.
So 2020, now listen to this increase. That was 165. 2020, we've had 166.
One.
So
that's not anywhere near the 41% increase.
Well, it's closer to the 1% in the 4 than the 40.
It's actually closer to the 0.5%.
So yeah, we haven't really seen any kind of increase in that. So what I did was I was like, well, since I always say that 500 is the top 2.5% of the market, what's happened from 500,000 to 700,000 in our market?
Okay, interesting.
So this is just 5 to 7, not including the 7 to endless 30 million. Maybe you could buy in our market for 30 million. You can probably buy a city. But
you could buy Little Rock for 30
yeah, very close. I think people have actually Clinton's. Anyway, so in from 500 to 700, you caught that. I hope they didn't. I don't want to die. From 500 to 700.
You can't up your ante by saying more. Stop talking about it. Let's go back to the iPhone, Ray. Let's just go back to the iPhone.
Back to the iPhone. In 2019, from 500 to 700, we had 330 transactions.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So as you can see, there's a lot more towards the bottom. That's always going to happen. There's a lot more people looking for 150 than 500, right? So we know as you go down, you're going to see more transactions. Not a total surprise, but so based on the numbers, we should see a pretty drastic increase from 500 to 700. That was 330.
Especially with interest rates at all-time lows. Like it just closed on a 965 purchase at 3%, a jumbo loan at 3%. That should help it, right?
You would think. So we had 241 year to date.
Down from what? 330?
Yeah.
Wow, that's 10%, 30, 20. That's a 30% decrease, dude.
It's actually so much that I'm double checking my numbers.
Yeah, that's a big decrease. So here, I'll do mine.
Go ahead.
So again, just Rancho closed from January 1st of 2019 to October 14th, 2019. Average sale price. And I think this is interesting. Average close price. This is also interesting. Average list price was $910,000. Average close price a year ago, year to date, was $892, so $18,000 less. Okay. And that was 245 total sales. So 245 total sales a year ago, year to date, average close price $892.
Wow.
Okay. So those same numbers, year to date, the 2020, average list price was $12,000 less at $898. That's insane. And average close price
numbers.
Rate, huh?
That's huge numbers.
That's 12,000 less. That's more than 1% less. During a crazy buyer's market pandemic and with no inventory, and the average close price is less by 1% at 885. So 893 a year ago. If you sold a year ago, you would have closed at 893. This year in luxury in Rancho Cucamonga, you would close at 885. So, but the story is kind of true. 245 sales closed a year ago, 280 this year. So 35 more, so 10% more, but not 41%. That's I don't think those numbers are right. I can't say 41%.
Yeah, and I'm thinking mine may have. So sometimes our little MLS, whenever you put the dates in, it's so fun because it just won't save the date ranges that you put in there. And so
That's all I don't want to
count, yeah, that's kind of what it says.
You know what happened, Ray?
What's that?
You got 4 burned.
I got 4 burned. Okay, so it was. It's actually both those numbers are wrong, which is weird. It's actually about the same. There's almost no difference. I think there's like 30 home differences. So there are more that sold this year. There are more that sold this year, but it's about
so 30. For me it was 35 more, but less on the closed price by $8,000 by 1%.
Clayton said, "Did I miss some shade?" Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you missed this episode, you get. I mean, you gotta. So let us know what's happening in your market. We definitely want to know what's happening in your market. We're seeing a slight increase. It looks like from 500 to 700. We're seeing a very slight increase from 700 and up in our luxury market.
So I want to know, where did they get this 41% nationally, by the way?
I wonder if it's, I wonder if it relates to the other article that we were talking about, which, we should add the note to and tag in the Be More Chops. The other article that we're talking about people moving from larger cities and purchasing in Midwest towns, areas. I wonder if they're like, oh man, for 500,000 I can get that, I'm buying it, or for 700,000 I can get that. When they've been like purchasing a tiny apartment for $1 million. I wonder if that has led to an increase in quote luxury. When you have someone that's not used to luxury for $1 million realize that they could buy a castle in Arkansas for $1 million. Well,
and also, what is luxury? What is the definition of luxury across the country?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in some areas, 300 grand might be luxury. So if you're leaving California with a ton of equity and you're buying cash, you're going to buy luxury. So maybe that's where the big jump is, because that's just such a crazy number. Because remember, if Ray and I's numbers are, I mean, my sales went up by 10%, Ray's went up a minimal number. There have to be numbers that are higher than the 42% to average out to the 41. So I wonder where that is.
Melissa Mara says, we had a very interesting conversation in my office about not only about forbearance, but on foreclosures and evictions the other day. Some crazy numbers in New Jersey on that. That's interesting.